Hey everybody, this is Adam with the KTK605 channel. I wanted to go over something I thought was really important, and that is safety checking a semi-automatic handgun, otherwise known as a BSA, Blue Steel Automatic. I know most of you folks out there are well versed on gun safety, but I know some folks out there just purchased their first firearm, and I'm sure there's others yet that don't have one. So for the most part, I like to, at least for now, I like to keep my videos kind of simplistic, because I know I watch a lot of YouTube videos, and like, for example, some guys will be going through their go bag and they're pulling out things, and they'll say, oh, this is a such and such, you know about that, and they fling it, and I'm like, no, I don't know about that, please stop, talk about it. And so I like to keep things simplistic as best I can. This is my my Glock 23 .40 caliber Generation 4, my everyday carry. This this holster, what is the name brand of this thing? I don't even know. What is this thing? DeSantis, I think. I've had this thing for 10, 12, 13, 14 years. I don't know, long time. Love that holster though. It's got a little extra pocket that I used to have a extra mag in, but it doesn't hold it very well. But as far as the holster being comfortable, it does the trick. It does the trick. It's my favorite holster, and I've got, I don't know, 10 or 12 holsters, and this is the one I use the most, bar none. So anyway, I just want to do a quick safety check. There's some particulars that you need to know when you have a firearm, and one is always point a firearm in a safe direction. Usually that's in a downward direction. Usually. Right now this is not, because it's sitting on the table. But generally speaking, when it goes in your hand, you want to point it in a downward direction. When you're on the range, you want to keep your firearm always pointed down range, either at your target or down at the ground. What some might call a low ready position. So if it does inadvertently go off, you have an AD, accidental discharge, or nowadays they're calling them NDs, negligent discharges. You want to make sure it discharges somewhere where it's not going to hurt anything. Which brings me to another safety point, is never point a firearm at anything you do not plan on destroying. Period. End of story. Do not point it at anything you do not plan on destroying. And then the third is always treat a firearm as if it were loaded. Even after you do a safety check and you know it's unloaded, always treat the weapon as if it's still loaded. Always follow those same basic rules. Have the gun pointed in a safe direction. Don't point at anything you do not plan on destroying. I know a cop friend of mine. Years ago, he was showing his girlfriend his Glock, and he ended up shooting her in the leg. And those things happen. And thank God, you know, she didn't die. She made it. For those that don't know, if you get shot in the leg, there's a big artery that goes through there. You can bleed out quickly and die. So, so let me just kind of go over. I want to explain to you how he shot that girl in the leg. Okay, folks, as you can see, I swapped out pistols, but let me pick it up where I left off. What I'm going to do is pick up the firearm now and explain to you how to do a safety check, and then how my buddy shot his girl in the leg. Excuse me. So I picked the firearm up, and right away, when I'm prepared to take it out, the firearm's pointed in a safe direction, in a downward angle. If it does go off, it's going to hit the glass and the table here, and then the ground. And I have no basement, so it'll go into the dirt. If it goes that far, probably won't go that far. But so what I'm going to do is remove the holster here, and this is my my Glock 22 .40 caliber, the full size. So as you can see, I have my finger along the side of the slide or the receiver here. I'm keeping it out of the trigger guard. You always want to keep your finger out of the trigger guard until you are ready to squeeze the trigger. Even if you're on the range or if you're in a gunfight and you are putting rounds down range, after you squeeze off however many you want to squeeze off, when you are not firing the weapon, take your finger out of the trigger guard and put it alongside the slide and or the receiver, which is exactly where it is now. Okay, so the very first thing you want to do when you do a safety check, and this one is loaded, okay, one in the chamber, and because I want to be practical about it and show you how to do it. First thing you're going to do is to press the magazine release right here, and you're going to remove the source of feed. You're going to remove these 15 rounds of ammunition. Put that over to the side. Second thing you're going to do is you are going to, as I was taught, overhand rack your firearm. I guess you don't have to overhand it, but you're going to rack it. And you could probably see it and hear it, and the round went flying out. I can see it over there sitting on the ground there on the carpet. So now theoretically this gun is empty. Okay, but how do we know that? We still need to double check and triple check. And after you've done this a bunch of times, you can do this in about 3 seconds, and it's just a matter of repetition. It's no big problem. But I'm going over it really slow right now. Okay, so theoretically the gun should be empty. I took the magazine out of the magazine well. I ejected the round from the chamber. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to rack 3 times. Okay, now there's no rounds that flew out that time, which is good. But we're double checking to make sure there's no rounds in there. Now, had my buddy done that, had he racked it 3 times, okay, before he shot his girlfriend in the leg, he would have realized, oh my God, the magazine is still in the magazine well. Okay, because he would have saw 3 bullets go flying out of the side of the gun, and it would have dawned on him, oh boy, this gun is still loaded. But he didn't properly do a safety check. So after you rack it those 3 times, then what you want to do is you want to lock your slide to the rear. Okay, then you want to do a physical and a visual check of the magazine well. You want to physically put your finger in it to make sure that it is empty. You want to visually look at it to make sure it is empty. Okay, and if you, there you go, you can see right through it. So you want to physically and visually check the magazine well. Then you want to physically and visibly check the slide or the barrel right here by the ejection port for any rounds that may be in there. And you want to look in the barrel, right in there. It's dark right now, and I know on video so many things are hard to see, but it is dark for me. I can see inside the barrel there, but there's nothing there. No bullet. If there was a bullet there, it would be a little shiny. It's not. I can see the barrel. I can see the dark hole where a bullet should be, and it's not there. So I've physically and visually checked the magazine well, physically and visually checked the ejection port or the barrel to make sure that there's no round in there. Now this is probably an extra step that I take, but I rack it and let it go back forward, and I rack it 3 more times. And why is that so important now? Because now if I break down the weapon, I have to squeeze the trigger to release the slide. Squeezing the trigger is going to make a round go off if there's a bullet in there, which is where my buddy went wrong. Okay, he should have done the proper safety check to make sure there was no bullets in the chamber, and he should have made sure that the weapon was pointed in a safe direction. He should have never had it pointed at something he didn't plan on destroying. He didn't want to destroy his girlfriend's leg. He shouldn't have had it pointed there. So I don't really care about this table, okay, There's a glass under here, but I really don't care about it. I can get another table, so I don't have to worry about shooting this. So I've done an extensive safety check just now. I've racked the slide a total of 6 times. I've physically and visually checked magazine well in the chamber. Now I'm going to go ahead and squeeze my trigger and listen for the little click. There we go. Now I can dismantle my Glock and I can clean it or do whatever I'm going to do with it. Okay, that is the proper way to do a safety check. Let me throw this thing back together. And I'm going to go ahead and load it up, magazine in the magazine well, rack it, put one in the chamber. Okay, I'm going to put the holster, put it inside the holster. I'm going to remove the magazine. I'm going to go retrieve my other bullet. And put the extra round in the magazine. Insert it in the magazine well. Theoretically, I'm ready to go. Although, this is an older Glock. Well, even newer Glocks, I guess, don't have the little, I don't even know what you call it, the little thing with the little hole in there where you can visually check to see if the round is in there. So I'm just going to give it a peek here to make sure that there's a round. You can see the shiny round right there. I want to make sure I'm chambered. Okay, just double check. And then that's it. I am all done. That is a safety check for a semi-automatic handgun, Blue Steel automatic. All right, folks, be careful, be safe. Okay, take care of one another, and I will talk to you later. Bye.